conservation, Angkor Wat, the workings of a building construction, and life in African community. Recent literary collaborators have included Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Also, his photographs appear regularly in publications worldwide, including Time, the New York Times, and National Geographic. So without further ado, Ibu Helena will give the floor to Mr. Richard.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you. I am in the East Coast, a place called Cape Cod in the United States. It's my Wednesday night, and I'm happy to take this time to meet you and share some of my stories and some of my photographs from my travels around the world with you. So I've always been a photographer. That's been my profession and my job. It's what I studied in university and in art school. And then it was almost by accident that I became an author. I have two sons, and they're grown up now, but when they were your age, we would read together a lot. And when it was my turn to choose the book, I would often choose nonfiction. And many times I would find books about animals because I knew I was photographing wildlife for my work, and it was helpful for me to learn more and more about the behavior of animals. So one time I went to the library and I found a book called Giraffes in the Wild. And I started reading this to my sons, and on the very first page, there was a photograph of two tall giraffes, and I looked at the background behind them, and I saw a wire fence. And I thought this was a little strange because, again, the title of the book was Giraffes in the Wild. So I went to the second page, and there was a mom giraffe and a beautiful little baby, and behind them, there were power lines and electric wires. I went back and I checked the title again, and it still said Giraffes in the Wild. And I was getting a little bothered. I didn't make a big deal about it because my boys just want a book. They don't need Dad, the photographer, to analyze every detail of every photo. So I went to the third page, and there were four beautiful giraffes. A sun was setting behind them. And in the background, I saw a parking lot with cars and buses. Well, that was too much. I put that book down. I found a storybook. I finished that to my sons. And then I went to investigate what was going on in this book. And I looked and I looked. And in the very end, in a small note, it said, even though the book was called Giraffes in the Wild, all the photographs were made in a zoo. And I didn't think that was right. So I thought, since I knew what I wanted to do, I was going to travel and go to the real places where the animals lived and go to real places far away where people lived. And I was going to be honest and show what I could by actually going to those places. So I started a series of books called The Traveling Photographer. So what I want to do in the time that we have now is show you some of the photographs from my travels and show you one book that I have finished, and I want to show you another book that I'm working on and give you an idea of some of the decisions that I have to make as an author when I'm designing a new book. So I'm going to go to screen share, and hopefully all our technical aspects will cooperate. And you will see the photographs that I want to show you. So my work and life as a photographer and a writer and a storyteller has taken me around the world many times. And sometimes my work as a wildlife photographer can get a little interesting. I've been chased by hippos. I've eaten an orange with an orangutan. I've moved close to a mountain gorilla. I've cuddled with bear cubs. I've gazed with gazelles. I've stampeded with stallions. I've locked eyes with a lion. I've paraded with peacocks. I've been splashed by the tail of a whale. I've sat with seals. I've picnicked with pandas. I've run after elephants. And sometimes I have to run to save my life. And then I take time to look at my photographs as stories and narratives. And I add words to my pictures, and I've published many of them as books. So there are many reasons that I love to tell stories with photographs. Photographs help me remember the places that I visit and the interesting people that I meet. Photographs help me to share different cultures and try to understand people whose lives are so different than mine. Photographs help me share moments of nature and natural beauty. Recently, I've been traveling to Kenya to work on a book about the extremely endangered rhinos. Rhinos were hunted and hunted for so many years, and one species of rhinos, the northern white rhinos, are so close to extinction. I got to meet a very special rhino named Sudan. Sudan is the last remaining male northern white rhino on Earth. He's a symbol for the end of his species. Sudan is quiet and older and quite welcoming, even to me. And when I travel, although I take many cameras with me, I like to be a little bit light and flexible. I can't imagine what it's like to work the way this woman is working, and I pity her back and her shoulders. So some photographers like to trick animals, but I think most animals are smarter than this, and they're certainly smarter than this. This is one photograph that I didn't take, but I wish I had. I like it so much because it tells an entire story in one single image. I'm sure it's a setup and is a bit of Photoshop manipulation, and it's not just a random lucky moment, but the idea of composing all the elements of a little story into one image is quite brilliant. So when I make a new book, as a storyteller, I have to think about what I want to show and what I want to tell. Although they're nonfiction, my books always have a story. They're not just photographs with a list of facts. So I get to decide, do I want this to be funny or scary or maybe happy or sad? So the shaping and editing of the story are as important as the skills I have in creating the images in the first place. So I want to show you a book I'm in the middle of. It's a work in progress. I call it Monkey Zone. It's a town where monkeys live, but I can choose the mood that I want to put into this story. By picking different photographs, I can make the story a little bit creepy and a little bit dark and foreboding and empty. Maybe it's even a little bit scary. I can make it look like a place that monkeys have invaded and driven all the people away. The monkeys have taken over. The hungry monkeys go after anything in sight. As they take over the town and move around in gangs. So for me, as a storyteller, I collect all this information, all this raw material that make up different sides of the story. And then I get to control which story I want to tell you. So here's another way I can also tell the story of Monkey Zone. I can choose different photos to try to change the mood. So remember, I made all the photographs at the same place at the same time, but I can make two different stories by choosing different photos. So here we go. Here's Monkey Zone version 2. And this time I want to make the story more fun. So I choose photos that have more color, more life, and more people. I can show the monkeys interacting with people and trying to steal my tripod. Now the monkeys go and accept treats from people that come to visit them. And they head out into town, eating and drinking. I can even show them playing together and enjoying a salad bar and playing with other monkeys, some live and some sculptured. And we can even have a monkey party filled with fruit and sweets and treats. And then the monkeys can cool off and take an afternoon swim. So here you can see how I could make two different stories from photographs taken at the same place that I get to edit and choose to change the mood and the theme. And it's the same thing that you can do if you're writing something, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. The details that you add to that story can change the mood. So I don't always know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm always looking for new stories to tell about elephants. I do love elephants. Can you imagine having your very own elephant and having an elephant as a pet in your family? Can you imagine an elephant in your backyard? Most of us don't have enough room or food to keep elephants at home, but a few lucky people do have their very own elephants. There are people in a village called Banta Klang, a small village in Thailand. where friendly elephants walk around freely, coming and going as they please. Here, in this place, people and elephants all live together. And visitors travel to Bonticlang from all over the world to watch and even ride on these smart and strong elephants. Many people in Bonticlang devote their entire lives to caring for and training these elephants so they can welcome the guests and show off all their talent. One night, a gifted elephant trainer named Pi woke up to hear his elephant, named Double Gold, howling. Her moans woke up all the elephants in the village, and they all started to roar together. The town was wild with noise. Pi had watched Double Gold grow bigger and bigger for almost 2 years, and he knew she was ready to add a new baby to his family. But little did he know how big his family would become. Double Gold roared until a healthy baby elephant was born. She laid down her head, exhausted. But a few minutes later, Double Gold lifted her body and pierced the quiet sunrise with another loud howl. What was going on? Elephants usually had only one baby. And all of a sudden, another elephant was born. Twins! In this small Thai village, the only known pair of boy elephant twins in the entire world had just been born. No one had ever seen twins before. After a few minutes in shock, I began laughing with joy, and soon everyone else joined in, cheering and whooping and hollering as they celebrated the birth of this miracle of the only two boy twin elephants in the whole world. And as the warm rays of morning sunlight turned the whole town gold, these boys got their names, Gold Light and Gold Ray. I had been to this place many times before to make another book, and Pi the trainer asked me if I wanted to do a book about his new family. And of course I said yes, yes, double yes, twins yes. I never expected to be the official baby photographer for the world's only boy elephant twins. But here I was, watching them grow up. Every morning, the brothers drink gallons and gallons of their mom's milk before they go off to elephant nursery school. The twins are very active and very different. Pi trains the twins every day, so when they grow up, they can take visitors for rides through the little roads and rice fields of their village. They go to elephant school to learn how to listen to his commands and stop and go and turn left and right at the sound of his voice. Like so many twins, it's really hard to tell them apart, yet they are unique little boys. All through the hot day, Pi brings them buckets of cool water. Gold Ray sips slowly and carefully, while Gold Light takes huge gulps and slurps and burps while he drinks. Gold Ray loves to follow Pi's voice and proudly sits, stands, or rolls over. But Gold Light would rather be playing and tugs on his brother every chance he gets. Sometimes he even steps on his brother's belly. Gold Ray may seem calm and serious, but he is fast. And when the two boys take their daily run, Gold Ray leaves his slowpoke brother back in the dust. And then to brag a bit, Gold Ray rubs his nose in Gold Light's face. Elephants have very rough, thick skin that's wrinkled and dotted with wiry black hairs. Bugs and insects like to crawl into that skin, which can make the elephants very uncomfortable and itchy. At least twice a day, the twins come to swim in the river. swimming and snorting and climbing over each other as all that water helps to clean out those big bunches of bugs that live in their deep folds and wrinkles. Gold Light and Gold Ray splash and spray and point their trunks like squirt guns. And when Pi leads them out of the water, they're very clean and shiny. But not for long. They roll in the dirt again. What a mess. But hey, that's what elephants like to do, especially these baby boys. Double Gold is a very good mother. She teaches them how to behave and be kind to one another. And when the boys play too rough or start fighting, she slips her long trunk between them and pushes one away. They're still learning just how strong their long trunks can be and just how much power they have in their round, chubby bodies. Sometimes when the boys are playing, they knock each other over by accident, but Mom is always right there, checking to make sure that everything is all right. And they always snuggle and make up. In the afternoon, when it is especially hot, Double Gold sprays herself with a cloud of red dirt. She shows her boys how a shower of dust can help keep them cool. This dirty crust is like an elephant sunblock, protecting them from the harsh, direct light. The boys love the dust shower, and it's the only time their mom encourages them to be so messy. Gold Light and Gold Ray are learning and getting smarter every day. Their constant climbing and bumping and chasing and running and pushing is all part of growing up and learning how to be good elephants. At the end of each long day, they take a last walk together. The twins lay down for sleep, snuggling under the stars. Their two trunks twisted together, softly snoring sweet songs. But there still may be some mischief left. Gold Ray lays down, so ready for night-night, and Gold Light plops down right on top of his brother, using Gold Ray's warm backside as a giant pillow. But soon the twins cuddle together and fall fast asleep. Good night, elephant twins. Good night.
Wow.
Thank you for being such good watchers and listeners. And I'd be happy now to answer any questions or hear your comments. And let's start.
Yep. Okay, guys, who wants to ask a question? You can raise your hands. Okay, Betari.
Uh, I would like to ask, is there any other place that you get inspiration to write these books, or is it just the animals that you see every day while doing your photography?
Oh, the animals I see every day usually are like squirrels and maybe a fox and sometimes a raccoon. And if I go out towards the beach, I'm in the ocean. I can see dolphins and sometimes turtles. So I have to usually travel to find those animals that I showed you. And before I travel, I like to research and learn about the animals. And I also make sure every time that I'm not an expert in every animal, so I want to be safe. So I always have a guide, somebody like Pi, the elephant trainer, who can help me and protect me and guide me so I make sure that I'm respectful of what I can and can't do with the wild animals.
Okay, thank you. Next, Sultan. You may
How
ask your
many elephants were there in the village?
At the time that I was in that village, I think there were about 80 or 90 elephants. And the elephants tend to come and go. There are maybe half those elephants live there full time, and some of the other elephants might stay there for a month or two and then move on and visit another place.
Oh.
Next, Nicole.
So I have a question. So is there how long have you been doing photography?
I've been a professional photographer since I was in university and art school. So my whole adult life, I've been doing photography, and then maybe about 20 years ago, I started adding words to the photographs to start making books.
All right. And I have one more question, if you don't mind. Was there do you have a favorite place where you went to do your photography?
I have a few favorites. I do like East Africa, uh, Kenya and Uganda, that part of the world, and I do love your part of the world. I've been to Indonesia several times now, mostly to photograph orangutan, and I hope to do a book on orangutan in the near future as well.
Thank you, Nicole. Next, Kirana.
Yes. How many places have you been to?
So far, I have been to 53 countries. So there's still a few more I'd like to go to.
Okay, next, Mikaela.
What's your motivation to keep on going with your photography?
I'm still learning. There's still animals that I'm interested in, and it gives me a chance to learn and also about different cultures. I don't only do animals. I'm happy to share the photos of animals, but I also like to learn more about different cultures and places in the world that are different than my little home on Cape Cod.
Oh, and may I ask one more question? How long do you think you'll do photography for?
I think I can keep doing photography until I have to get wheeled around at least. So as long as I'm upright, I think I will keep doing it.
Okay, next, Dylan.
Okay. Question: have you ever done a book about marine life?
Not as much. I did do a book about whales, and I did a book about gray whales, and I'm working on a book now about humpback whales. The humpback whales come very close to my home in my summer months of June, July, August, September, and they're very active on the surface. I'm not a diver, so I don't do any underwater photography, but I do have another book about whales that I'm working on.
Okay.
Okay, we have two more from Pak David.
Okay, I would like to know how do you identify moments that worth taking photo of when you go out there taking photos? How do you identify those?
Well, part of that is kind of a learned skill, and part of it is waiting and being patient. So I sometimes can anticipate, and I can be in a situation where the light is right and the background is right, and I just say, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if I wait long enough here and an elephant walks by? And sometimes I'll wait, and I'll be lucky and an elephant will walk by, and other times after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I might say, well, this isn't happening the way I thought, so I'll move to another spot. So I am patient. That's one of the skills that I've developed.
Okay, we have one more from Sultan. You may ask.
Pa, what inspired you to do animal photography?
I was invited to photograph seals, those beautiful white coat baby harp seals that I showed one photo of. And once I started that project, and I did my first book was called Seal Journey, and um, I just I just loved it from that moment on.
Okay. Uh, okay, just one more. Valentina.
Yeah, sorry. But did you develop any other skills other than being patient?
Well, I think I have. I think that it's probably safe to say at this point that I also have a good eye. That composition and knowing how to frame a photograph is also an important skill, and I feel pretty confident that I am good at making the photograph interesting and sharp and in focus, and not having distractions and obstacles. So developing a photographic eye, it was also important to me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Richard. So once again, I'd like to say behalf of Global Jaya School community, we would like to say thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope in next future we can meet in person, like you can visit us and visit Kalimantan, the orang utan as well.
That would be wonderful. I look forward to that. Thank you all.
Yes, okay. So year six and teachers, thank you so much. Maybe we can give them one big applause and you can say it in the chat. Thank you again, Mr. Richard. So now you can move to your next period.
Thank you all.
You. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me and putting this all together.
Yep, we're
Yeah.
like very happy. And actually, I want to say that I was lucky and Pa Ahmad because we had another book yesterday, right? From the mountain gorilla and now the elephant. So we got complete story.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad I could keep you interested.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Richards, for participating on our event, book week event.
Well,
Maybe.
again, thank you for inviting me, and let's hope that we can, in fact, meet in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you and good
Have a great day.
evening. Stay safe.
Oh, yeah. Stop recording.